Hey guys, I'm Ron Newcomb. I appreciate you guys tuning in, and with me we have fellow team member Errol Avellino, who is going to be taking the initiative. He's our marketing guru, but it's also going to be leading the charge with the YouTube team, and this is what this discussion is going to be about. And then we have some high-capacity leaders here. We have Dale Miller and Bart Johnson as well, and so we just want to have a discussion a little bit about what the Forge Studio has in store for 2016 as it relates to YouTube. I also have in studio with me Jerry Mosmack and Skip Lippman, so they might chime in from time to time as well. But if you're seeing this for the first time, that means you got a recording and this is being sent to you. We want everyone to be able to see kind of the whole start of this, and hopefully this will be able to answer some questions. And we really see this as a dialogue of what we are looking to do. So, you know, we've all thought about, if you're on this call or if you've been sent this link, that we've all thought about what it might look like and be like to potentially become a YouTuber. And in today's time, it is very difficult to kind of get something out there that can go viral enough, that sustains enough members and subscribers to your channel, and then for you to be able to push that content out on a regular basis. And of course, YouTube's owned by Google, and there is some jockeying of how much they're going to throttle stuff down and lift up. And so this whole idea of becoming a YouTuber is an interesting one, and one that certainly we're trying to explore and have a dialogue about at the Forge. The other thing that is interesting to being a YouTuber is in doing narrative content, one that has a storyline, ones that we want to tell, and specifically in the sci-fi and fantasy genres. They're very difficult to turn them around in such an efficient manner that you're able to do them and get enough content up on your channel that it's going to present eyeballs and get people coming back on a regular basis, because we all know that if it goes, 2 weeks on the internet, that is just way too long. You end up losing people. You might have, 100,000 subscribers, but how many active members are you getting? And then certainly we have this in-house mantra of Together Filmmaking at the Forge Studios, and so the team here we've been discussing what we can do to explore and utilize YouTube to the benefit of not just us, but a large group of people. And what we like to do, again, is creating these win-win opportunities. And so what we have been working on developing and what we're going to roll out, again, being led by Errol, is an idea of kind of a filmmaking co-op, that we want you to do what you do best and what you want to do. If you're on the call tonight and you've been sent the link, it's because we've identified you as what we call a high-capacity leader. So these are people that we know that are out there doing and can do, because one of the biggest things for us is that's a concern is ensuring that it's meeting a certain threshold of professionalism, that when we put it out, it's going to fulfill what we all want it to fulfill, and we know you guys and gals are going to do that with us. There's a certain parameter that you're going to hit, and you're not going to take anything less. Later on, there's going to be a process of which people will apply to be on the team, and then that way we can see who's doing what they bring to the table and why, and so forth, and have more of a discussion that way about that. We've worked with a lot of great people, so certainly it's not not inviting other people that we think are also high-capacity leaders, but you guys are also specifically have addressed or expressed some interest, at least, in a YouTube strategy. So some other people that we considered inviting but did not, was simply because they're more narrative feature, long-term type things. So if you're getting this, you're the exact person that we think can help us execute these win-win YouTube things. And what specifically we're talking about is creating this narrative content. The Forge Studios worked hard in developing 2 IPs. The Rangers, so we have this fantasy world that we've created that we still very much want to explore, and then we also have Outlawed Faith that's being currently developed, and we have a 12-minute short, but it's in the steampunk Western genre. So those two genres are two that we're looking to kind of develop with. So how we're going to do that, I'm going to now turn it over to Errol and kind of allow him to go through the how we're going to do it, and then at the end of it, if you guys have any questions, we'd love to get those answered. And we don't expect tonight for it to be like, unless you're sure, to a sign me up moment. We want you to go and think about it and kind of let us know your thoughts, and realizing that this is a discussion of that. So over to you, Errol.
Yeah, so first off, I'm super excited about this idea. One, because this is a realm of media and storytelling that I'm specifically very excited about. So when we're looking at the kind of the problem behind YouTube, the biggest problem is that in order to get an audience of any kind, you have to have consistent content. But to produce consistent content, a lot of times you have to take some shortcuts. So one of the biggest problems that we run into is that balance between those two things. So the way that we kind of want to approach this is by gathering people together and basically create teams of people who are at varying levels of ability to commit. So if you have a certain amount of time, you have a certain amount of time, and we want to have these teams basically put together through kind of a rotating and a balancing of each other's time, so that each team is dedicated to producing a certain amount of content in a given time period. So, for example, one team might be dedicated to producing one episode in a series, and then that's it. And the way that we're going to kind of accomplish this, we're going to spell out more in another document that right now I'm working on. So a lot of the details to all of that are kind of going into that document right now. But the overall gist of it is, our overall goal is that we want to be able to create and take those two IPs that Ron had mentioned. We want to take the Outlawed Faith IP, and we want to take the Rangers IP, and create two web series that they have shorter episodes. We're talking about 3 to 5 minutes, and each one is telling a story that kind of goes in a serial fashion. So for me, that's in a lot of ways, that's the kind of content that I enjoy consuming. But then also, that's the kind of content we're seeing a lot of people are starting to move towards, is the ability to consume something in a more serial type fashion. Like with serial storytelling, it's all about telling it in parts, much like a TV series that, like The Walking Dead, like these other shows where they're building off of each other. Each episode leads right into the next, and the hard part about that, as a single studio with very limited resources, is that we want to be able to create a situation where we can make that content still look great, but still keep up with that consistent pace. So that's what we're trying to accomplish here, and that's what we're trying to do with the YouTube team. One of the things that we want to do kind of down the road, one of the things we want to do in the very near future, so in the next month or so, is start reaching out to other groups that like schools and colleges and stuff like that, that would have younger filmmakers who would then, like Ron said earlier, apply to this type of team. One of the major benefits of it is that we really want to lead with kind of an organized structure, so that people aren't needing to one, kill themselves on how much time they need to put into each one of these productions. A lot of the producing aspects of it are already put together. And then two, when we have new people come in, people who are not at a high level, like the people here on this call, we have specific training materials that actually guide people through the process. That one can be shared, through different team members and whatnot, but that also can be used to basically further adapt your own processes. So those are the types of conversations right now that we're having in the Forge. And the overall vision of it, and that's really what this call is all about. We're not trying to get into the weeds or anything, but the overall vision of it is that you have this grouping of people. What we're seeing on YouTube is instead of just individuals creating, individual content, much like the vlog and other kind of simple pieces of content like that. You have groups of people who are getting together and creating networks. There is Geek and Sundry, Black and Sexy TV, and several others that are just doing such an excellent job of getting several creators together and basically working together to create content at a level and at a pace that no one of them could create, which gives them the traction that they need for all of them to be able to take off. So in order to really get that traction, they have to have that consistency, and that's what's creating that network. And then off on the side, you see these guys cross-promoting each other. You have the related channels where they're featuring, each of the individual creators who are part of it. So the opportunity here is pretty rich. We're doing something that's different than both Geek and Sundry and Black and Sexy TV in that we're making just two very specific web series and creating kind of a machine, if you will, that basically helps us to churn out this on a level that no one of us could do on our own.
There's what we're trying to do is also get you doing what you want to do and not trying to have to tackle such a big burden on the solo and create enough content to generate enough content to do your own page, but to see if we can come together and do it to the benefit of all of us, not just the Forge brand, but other brands. And it's truly that together filmmaking. So if a writer is writing, that might be a different group, the writer group. We have high capacity leaders that are going to be doing the production, and specifically they're going to be leading teams to do it. So we're going to be pushing out resources to do that. If they don't want to do post-production, that's something that we can take on or that we outsource to another team. And you're also not going to be responsible to do content like on a weekly basis for us. We're going to be doing content as well here, but it allows all of us to give that, like every Tuesday we have new content coming up, fresh and new, in a similar genre type, in a world that people are familiar with, things like that. And it also helps, because I know a lot of times what happens is, as a creative, as a storyteller, is you don't know what story to tell sometimes. That's why the 48s are really good, because it forces you into choosing something and sticking with something, and it can become a really cool thing. And we don't know how it's going to work. I do know this. YouTube is still owned by Google. It still shows up in search engines. YouTube is a billion-dollar industry, and for us not to have a strategy just wouldn't be true storytellers in the year 2016. And who knows if these things are going to take off. At minimum, it hones our craft, it gives us opportunity, it pulls together team members, it vets people, because at the end of the day, make no mistake, we're doing a feature film this year. And that's our real goal, that's the objective here, and this is also to garner and to begin to pound the drum of fan base. But I'm sure you guys have questions. Do you guys have any questions offhand right out of the gate that we can answer?
I have one. Here in Louisville, they have a network called Ville TV, and they do kind of like web series. We just got through doing one called The Last Resorts and it's going to be like a 6, depending on if they like it or not. Do you have the capability to join teams with these guys? We just got through doing one.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a good question, and that's that creating that win-win scenario. And the answer is absolutely. We're open to strategic partnerships.
Okay.
So it's not like it has to live on our channel alone. We want it to live on our channel at least to some degree, because it does serve the purpose of trying to get to this and mobilize this bigger base. But it doesn't need to do that. And then what that might look like after that is all subject and open to, being defined. It kind of moves ahead. So we're definitely open to strategic partners. Again, we need to look at, so we're getting ready to go to this thing called NAPI, right? And it's where you go down to Miami, Florida, and it's buyers and sellers from all over the world come and pitch TV ideas and sell shows and all that stuff, right? And some of them I found out really what they are, and just a few of them, they're distributors, but they're really YouTubers that have come together, and there's about 10 of them that come together and form their own distribution company. And they're really being taken serious because they have the metrics and eyeballs, even though people go, oh, your videos are silly. It doesn't matter. It's very much what Netflix is doing to the industry. So we're very open to strategic partnerships of what could, things could look like a channel. So anybody else have a question I can answer?
I don't think so.
Okay, good. Well, kind of.
Robin, what do you have?
I don't have. It's not specifically necessarily to this. I just talking about YouTube. I wanted to ask if anybody has looked into how exactly YouTube Red is going. Because I know that launched so recently. But I mean, has anybody looked at how successful it's been in terms of people jumping on to the bandwagon of having to pay for YouTube content versus?
Yeah, here. So that's been a conversation within the YouTube space for sure. The end strategy for us isn't necessarily to get millions upon millions of views and stuff like that. That's one way of doing things, but that's not a very good way to monetize YouTube, in my opinion. The best way to monetize YouTube is very similar to the Black and Sexy model. And I keep saying their name, and I always smile a little bit every time I say it. But they're really smart business people. Because basically what they did was they had a ton of content leading up towards a. So they would take a series and they would take it all the way to basically a season finale. And once they would get to that season finale, they would go over to VHX and they'd post, a slightly bigger episode, which was the season finale. And when they posted that, it would be sold to their audience, and their audience jumped on it because for them, their audience was already hooked. Their audience was already into Black and Sexy TV. They already appreciated them. They really wanted to be able to support them. So for them, this was just one opportunity to be able to support the creators that they liked, which is a much better situation than just trying to garner any kind of income from ads and stuff like that. That's not really where we want to go. And so the bigger point of contact for us is we really want to see that audience. We really want to get that audience and mobilize them, even if it's 10 to 40,000 people. To us, that's a big audience. That's great. To us, that's as many viewers as we need really to push things forward and do some really big stuff.
Well, we're open to everything, so we're open to where it might lead. I mean, we've looked at Vimeo too, but it is really about that fan mobilization. And YouTube is where eyeballs are, and to have a voice in that space, I just am convinced you're not going to do it solo. You just can't create it fast enough, and you might get a viral video, but that's just not enough. We got to do it together again, and we're a small enough studio where we can't create the content fast enough, and then we realize, And we didn't realize, we knew this all along. We don't need to. We have a team of professionals that, we can do this together. It's, it's almost a no-brainer. So, well, what we'd love for you guys to do is kind of think about it, see what you guys think. I know we've all talked and kind of talked around about something like this for quite some time, but we're eager towards it and putting some resources behind it. I mean, Errol's going to be really focused on this and our marketing, and so we're excited about revisiting the world of Adrasil and the Rangers, and as well as exploring new ones like Alpha Prime with Outlawed Faith. I mean, two really, really cool genres, and we have some really nice CGI capabilities on the back end. I really think we're going to be able to do some fun and exciting stuff. So we do hope that you guys, come in with us and help us kind of define our YouTube team and strategy. We'll go ahead and kind of sign off for now, and if you guys have any further questions, Errol's, I'm just going to throw his email address out there, but certainly you guys can contact me. You know that. It's Errol@theforgestudios.com. Is that right, Errol? Did I get that right?
I just put it up into the chat as well.
Nice. Look at you.
Yeah, so a little bit of homework for you guys. Definitely shoot me an email, but I of course can follow up with you guys. But definitely shoot me an email, and I'll have a document that's all set up for basically explaining some of the details of what we've been talking about, so that you guys can give us, one, some input, but then two, what do you think? Is this something you want to jump on?
And what we want to be conscious of is time commitment, because high capacity leaders are busy, so we're not looking for overcommitment. We're not looking for overcommitment, but we are looking for a commitment. The hey, whatever you need, man, is really not what we're looking for. We want high capacity leaders that take the bull by the horns and say, all right, we're gonna have our little team, and this is what we're gonna do, and we need support by this, this, and this. We need a leader in certain areas to kind of take it on. And as we get, if we got 4 solid teams, that would be amazing. That'd be one thing a week, and then we could supplement, the Forge could supplement. So that's ideal, and it can be worldwide, and so there's a lot of possibility here. I know you guys know that, so I appreciate your time tonight. I'm going to go ahead and stop recording. So if you're online, again, Errol@theforgestudios.com. So thanks for joining us.